Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching around the world. Welcome to the Same Old Arsenal Team Talk. We are back after a short break. The international break is over, which I never enjoy. I always enjoy Arsenal being back, but the way we're playing of late has been very up and down. We're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about some debates to start with. We have got Lee Chappers-Chapman joining us later, Leicester fan, around about 7:30-ish, just for a few minutes to talk about our upcoming game with Leicester. And I'm going to talk to the boys about our Arsenal team at the moment. Joining me as ever, like every week on this Friday night, is Manny from the Ars Brothers. You finally got a Twitter account, Manny. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man, and I don't have a Twitter account. This is the generic. This is the generic account for the Yards Brothers, man. So if anybody wants to follow wherever I've got going on, they can go over there, man. But it's not for the faint of hearts, man. If you're going over there, then be prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that is a definite warning as well for all those. Anyone who does want to follow Manny and the Arse Bros, then follow at the Arse Brothers. And the A is a capital and the B is a capital of the Arse Brothers. So please come and follow Max, Manny, Ryan, and the other boys over at Arse Bros. And also joining me tonight, welcome back, Mr. Lee Judges. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much, Dan. First time on the show, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. So better than that biased goalkeeping host, Craig. You know what I mean?
What was going on? What was going on there today? Listen, I've had a busy day, mate. I've had a busy day, and my phone was buzzing with Craig and you and Harry going mental about Leno and goalkeepers.
It's all everybody else's fault but Leno's. The goalpost, the ball might have been pumped up too heavy. Anything to blame, not to blame, Mr. Leno.
There we go. Well, listen, we're going to get into that in a little while. But first of all, I wanted to talk about a debate because we always start this show with a topic. We always start it normally with either a player or an incident or something that's topical. And the obvious one is going to be one that I am not going to start with because this guy has had so much attention over the last 6 years at this club that I do not want to talk about the guy anymore. He's not been picked. He's not been selected for the 25. And that's the end of it. I don't want the guy seen in an Arsenal shirt again. And I don't want people talking about him yet again for another whole evening. As far as I'm concerned, Mesut Ozil is now done as an Arsenal player. It's completed. That scenario's over. And we need to move on and look at our future. So bring him up if you wish, Lee. I know Manny won't. But I certainly won't be giving him much attention tonight because I can't stand the guy. And I know that Manny can't either. So I thought what I'd pick instead was to look at something in terms of us going forward. Because at the moment, a lot of people are saying we are very, very defensive. And I'm not so sure that is the case. But what I will say is there is a lack of creativity at this football club at the moment. And I think that's clear for all to see. We needed Houssem Aouar in the summer, and that's clear to see. Now, if we're not going to play the Houssem Aouar, if we weren't able to get Houssem Aouar, we needed to find somebody to replace him. And I don't believe we're looking at that player at the moment that is fitting into that system. Manny, let's come to you first on this because I know you're passionate about it going forward. At the moment, man, I don't think it matters what front three we play, whether it's Eddie, whether it's Laka, whether it's Willian, Pepe, or Aubameyang. We've got no creativity, bruv. What the hell's going on, man?
I think the plan in the transfer window didn't come to fruition. So it's a case of Arteta going, you know what, I'm going to try to get the best out of what I currently have. He's, playing the back three, and taking a body out of the midfield because he feels like he can't fully trust this defense to do what they need to do. And I wouldn't blame him because really there are two defenders that you can trust, and that's Tierney and Gabriel, and he's only been here for a couple of months. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case of not having the player to play in the midfield because I think the number 10 position is obsolete. Nobody plays with a number 10 anymore. So really you need a number 8 that can do it all. We haven't got that player at the moment. We have maybe a pretender in Saka, but he's not fully there yet in his development to say that he's a regular to be playing in midfield. So really, we don't have the men to play an extra midfielder in there, because this is what this team needs. It needs somebody that's able to connect the midfield with the attack. At the moment, we don't have that player. We have a lot of pretenders, in the Willians. We have the pretenders in Saka and Pepe to a certain extent, and it's just not working. It's not flowing because there's not that player, that ready-made number 8 that we can sit in there and that can have everything flowing nicely. So at the minute, I think Arteta is just going, you know what, I'm just going to protect this defense as much as possible. And it's funny that people complain about us defending too well, because for how long have we been complaining that we can attack and we can't defend? At the minute, it's finding the right balance, and keeping that defense solid is more important than attacking at the minute, clearly.
Yeah, listen, I think that at the moment, Lee, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think Mikel Arteta is scratching his head thinking, what am I supposed to do with this lot? I'm trying to play 3 at the back. Now I'm trying to go 4 at the back, but I can't get the balance right. What do you make of it? Why can't we seem to be going forward at the moment, Lee?
I think because he hasn't got the personnel. Simple as that. I think that you can't play back. He can't play the extra man in midfield because that means he hasn't got the 4 defenders that he wants. Let's be honest. The 2 best players at the moment on Thursday was Gabriel and Partey. There's no coincidence, So listen, Gabriel's been a fantastic signing for us. So that's stirred up one side of it. I think he's going to have to bring in Mustafi till January and then get somebody else in. I honestly believe that we have to play 3 at the back to shore up our dodgy defending, and that takes away that extra man in midfield. If we go with a 4, I think that we're going to get we look a little bit dodgy at the back. I look at David Luiz. I think he's fantastic in a 3, but not a 4. So we need somebody in the right hand side of that defence that's going to be good. Now I had a conversation with someone the other day about this. Maybe Mari's going to be the one to come into it. And I know that people will turn around and say, "Oh, that's 2 left-footed players," but when Arsenal had Keown and Adams, they were 2 right-footed players. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can do that. It's just because they're 2 left-sided players. So I think that maybe he's waiting for Mari to come back. How long is it going to be before he comes back, by the way? But that's another story. So I feel that that's going to be where we're going to go. Obviously, like with the Saliba one, he's not ready for whatever reason. He's not. I think he needed more games and all that. Another, as Manny was saying earlier on, another mistake in the transfer window. Not got that done properly, leaving it to the last.
Was you disappointed by that, Lee? Because I really was with the Saliba thing. I was excited to watch him, and now it looks like we're not going to be able to see it. Did that disappoint you?
Yeah, of course. I think I understand the reasons. I totally get the reasons. He's probably not quite ready yet. Needs to be hardened up a little bit. So that decision should have been made weeks ago. And I think what they should have done was put him in a championship to toughen him up a little bit, perhaps to a London club, keep him close by, maybe Watford or something like that, where you can he's training next door, something along that lines, but not thought through, So, well, when we come to the midfield now, I believe that 2 players now are going to have to help us out till January, and I expect in January, not on the 31st of January, somebody bought into the club. i.e. on the 1st of January, we go back and get who we've got to get, because we are lacking creativity left, right and centre. Now, what I believe, and we could talk about, you don't have to talk about Mesut Ozil, we won't, but like what I'm going to say about that is that I feel with him not being in the team now and everything about this, and if these 2 players I'm going to mention now don't step up, the pressure is going to mount, unnecessary pressure on Mikel Arteta, because every time we play like we did and we're negative and we don't break down teams, people will keep coming back. Why? So 2 players have got to step up. I think that and Mikel Arteta's got to be brave and to do it. I think that those 2 players are going to have to be Ceballos or Saka. And I feel that Saka's just playing out on the left, just play him in more into the middle, sort your back 4 out. Go with what it's going to be. If it is going to be Tierney as a left back, then play him at left back instead of putting him in and out and all that. Like, go with a back 4. I think Tony Adams said this the other day. Get a partnership working. Get partnerships working in the central of defence, central of midfield, left back and wide left, right back and wide right. Now, what is happening at the moment, say with Pepe, 1 minute he's playing in, the next he's not, Bellerin's out, Cedric's in there. You cannot get partnerships, and then you cannot get momentum, and you cannot get structure. And what's happening is it's all breaking down. So we've got to start getting things like that. You know, there's a nice little build up of play, and it started last season between Tierney and Saka, and that's why it works a little bit more on that left hand side, but it keeps breaking down on the right. We need that creative. I think he's got to take a gamble in there. Partey for me and Xhaka come in as the two, and then you play Ceballos in there as well, or Saka as the other one there, and that one there has got to be the link play. Now, one other thing that I think with the front three, which is a problem, is that they're easy to mark, because what happens is if you had someone like Aaron Ramsey when he played, he would break through beyond the strikers. Now, if you've got a midfield player going past the strikers into the centre halves, who's picking up? Who is going to pick up and confuse them a little bit? But at this moment in time, it's all in front of the back three or back four of the opposition. So they know that they can what's going to happen. Now, I've got to get somebody like Pepe, who's going to be able to take players on. But unfortunately with Pepe, when he gets the ball, I watch it all day. He has 3 players on him, you know, because they know that Bellerin's not going to do it. And you know also you're not going to get the run. But say if Pepe got the ball and a midfield player breaks into the channel down that side, someone has got to either go with that player or they leave him and it's a nice little ball in for someone through. Or if they do leave him, it then opens up the play for Pepe. I don't think that we've got that right at the moment. But what we have done, and I think that maybe we're going to have to grin and bear this for 2 months, because at this moment in time, I don't think Arteta has got the players that he needs or he wants. So what we're finding at the moment is that we're going to be very, very hard to beat and do what we want to do. And the other thing that is very, very important on this, I think that we are playing very much in a cautious sort of way. Once the shackles are released, or i.e. when we went a goal down yesterday, look at us. The shackles are off in the system and that, and we just went and played a little bit like, you know. But I feel that under Mikel Arteta, he's playing with the shackles, playing with a system, which means us making it very, very hard to break down, making it very hard to beat, and we're keeping in games. And then what I think he's hoping for is a little bit of magic from one of the guys up top to open us up. I think we've got to grin and bear it until January. And I'm going to be honest, it's not pretty, and you're going to get all these little comments that are coming out. And I've seen a few in here like Mikel Pulis. We're going to get a few of them until January, I'm afraid, until he gets in what he wants. Awar was obviously someone Arsenal were desperately trying to get. I think that it's messed us up bigger than what we think that it's going to.
I think you're right. I said that we needed Hossamoa and Thomas Partey to compete for the top 4, and we didn't manage to get both of them. We only managed to get one. Manny, I'm going to bring you in our front men, because I'm looking at Lacazette, Aubameyang, Willian and Pepe. Some of the most inconsistent form I've ever seen. We saw Willian against Fulham away and we thought, what a signing he's going to be. He's carried on his form from Chelsea of like 5 years ago. Since then, we've not seen him. Lacazette, people say, is in form because he scored 3 and 3. I think he's been dreadful. I really don't like what he does and what he brings now. He's not even able to hold the ball up anymore. He's not able to keep the ball without getting tackled. Pepe is not fitting into this system. You've got Aubameyang, who people are saying, you know, obviously he's got enough credit in the bank to have a few bad games and scored last night, but he's not been on fire. What do you make of this, Manny, and how are we going to get these players scoring goals and working together, man?
Dude, I have no idea. It's you know, you can only do with one of those being in bad form, but all of them are currently, you know, looking a bit lost. With one of the things with this front three or front four, whatever you want to call them, every single one of them are lazy. Right, in the City game, I looked at that front three and it was lazy. It was lacking movement. It was lacking fluidity. It was lacking a bit of, you know, going out there and trying something different, right? So if you're going to have that front three, right, if they're going to play out of position or if they're going to be, you know, a bit isolated from the midfield, what you need them to do is work hard. And none of them are working hard at the moment. People are saying play Aubameyang through the middle. Understand that Aubameyang is a low-touch player, so if you're going to play him through the middle, you need somebody behind him who is going to be able to link the play. Otherwise, he is not going to do anything. With Pepe, we already know his hindrance. He needs somebody to go beyond him. He needs somebody to play those 1-2s with. Pepe is always going to be marked out of games because Bellerin is not going to help him. And when he comes inside, there's going to be nobody to pop those 1-2s with. So that front three at the moment, they're very lazy, and it's bad enough that they're isolated. If you're isolated, you can't be lazy, right? And that's the problem that we have at the moment. And like Lee said, we're going to have to grin and bear it. And we're going to need these men to work a lot harder than they are at the minute, because there is magic there. There is somebody who, Pepe can clip that ball into the box and somebody can get on the end of it. Lacazette can work a lot harder than he does. Aubameyang's movement can be a lot better than it is. But at the moment, every single one of them are out of form. And it's making this job a lot harder than it needs to be.
And Manny, do you think you got to sometimes look behind the strikers, because you're looking at Ceballos, you're looking at Xhaka, El Neni, we'll mention Partey and Gabriel in a minute, but surely we're lacking not just creativity, but we're lacking the service to these guys.
Of course we are, but if you put an extra body in that midfield, that back four needs to be solid. That back four needs to be sorted. That back four needs to know what it's doing. At the moment, I don't believe Arteta trusts enough of these defenders to do the job. Right? He doesn't. Hence why we have to play this way, which means out of that front three, these men, when we do have possession, when we do have the ball, like we did against City, we need movement. We need them to be crisp. We need them to be on the ball. Because don't make a mistake about it. Against City, we did have opportunities. There was movement, but there wasn't enough of it. Do you know what I mean? So they can be isolated in a lot of periods of the game, but when we do get the ball to them, they need to make it happen as well. And at the minute, they're not doing that.
Yeah, I think it's a great shot. Lee, our midfield, obviously, we're being told that we have no money. It's all over here. We have no money. We don't have no money. In January, do we need to find some money? Because it seems to me that we're going to have to try and get another midfielder in, at least in terms of a creative one, because I personally think we are still a centre-half and a creative midfielder away from top four. Or is that too harsh?
No, I think you're right at this moment in time. I think that, listen, the club's got no money, but nor have a lot of fans at the moment, but it still don't stop them bringing out another shirt, does it? And being sold out within a day. So, listen, they're asking the fans to find money in difficult times. Well, we're asking you as a club to find the money in difficult times. It's as simple as that. You can't have one without the other. So, and I feel that is the way we've got to go. We need two more players to I think Mikel Arteta knows that. He needs a central defender and, way to look at it, you need a central defender, whether it's going to be Mustafi, Chambers or whatever. I don't think are good enough, but we're going to need someone because David Luiz hasn't got much longer in his legs anyway. So we're going to have to look to replace at some stage. So, so central defender has got to come into the equation. Now, if you've got somebody like we all know, Upamecano or somebody like that, to go alongside Gabriel, then you've got two powerhouse central defenders that then you can just can bomb on from different areas. But until you get that, you've got to have the fullbacks being a little bit more conservative, a little bit cautious. It's all right saying to Bellerin, he ain't doing much of that, but he's having to make sure that he keeps in his right back position as well, because just in case things break down, so we've got to be a little bit cautious. We're only putting, the ball, you look at Liverpool, their two fullbacks are bombing on, so right into the other opposition's area. I don't think they'll do that so much now that Van Dijk's not here. You watch, because they know that they can't do it. So I think that we've got to be looking at a central defence and we've got to be looking at another midfield player. Our midfield at the moment, guys, is 6th, 7th, 8th, probably best in the league. You know what I mean? I would say Aston Villa have got a better midfield than us at the moment. Would Grealish get into our midfield? Certainly would. You know what I mean? People used to we're taking the mickey out of Ross Barkley, but is he better than what we've got in our midfield? I think that he is. You know what I mean? To the role that he plays, give these players game time, give them the platform to play. They can do it. I think at the end of the day, Arsenal have given a platform to certain players. They've given a platform to Pepe. He's not took it, Dan. They've given the platform. They've given the platform to Gabriel. He's took it. They've given a platform to Tierney. He's took it. But then you look at, I think, Ceballos as well. But then you look at, as I say, Eddie, I don't think has done enough to warrant coming in for me. When I go back through the years of supporting Arsenal, We've always had good centre forwards from the Ian Wright era. We had Frank Stapleton before that. We've had Henry. We've had Bergkamp. We've had all top players. Now we've got mediocre players. You know what I mean? Like our backup strikers have always been very, very good as well. You look at players like backup striker Wiltord would walk into this side. Backup strikers through the past. Carnu would walk into this side. You know what I mean? When I look at a front three of when we was winning leagues, Campbell, Wright, and Merson. You know what I mean? Three English players were terrorising teams at that time. We've had those players all the time, but now we've got players like Lacazette that lack a movement. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm going to start calling him from now on, because you know what I mean. He was absolutely poor the other night. You know, this is a guy that I've stuck up for us. 3 goals in 3 games. If he should be saying, right, so I'm going to show you now. I shouldn't, because in my opinion, he shouldn't have been left out. All right, he missed a couple of chances against Liverpool, right, and he's been dropped since that game, right. I'm going to show you what I can do. And well, he didn't do it. He didn't come on and show his manager. I don't think he put in a performance, boys. Was telling me I can't leave him out on Sunday.
I totally agree.
You know, but then again, so you say like, right, let's have a look at Eddie in there, like, you know what I mean? I don't think that he could sit there and say, I feel that I deserve a start after his performance, whether it be on the left or down the middle. And then you look at the guys like Willian, and certainly hasn't done it against Fulham, but I think I could have played well against Fulham that day. Now, you know what I mean? So I think that all around, I will say this, I think Manny's playing a fantastic point. All these players are out of form. Ask yourself why. Well, that's what I look, you know. Aubameyang come on yesterday, boys. It was embarrassing, if I'll be honest. You know, he had a touch of a rapist. You know what I mean? Like, it was awful. You know, all right, he scored the goal. You know, somebody said, oh, he got the goal. Yeah, well, you know, my nan could have scored from there. You know what I mean? I know that he's got to get in there. It was, you know, Bellerin done all the dirty work. But we've got, these players have got to step up and start playing. Because I do think that we're in a system at the minute that's relying on off-the-cuff, flair, movement, football. And if they're not going to do it, these 3 guys or 4 guys, whoever it's going to be, then we're in a little bit of trouble. You know, so I feel that we've got to sort that out. And I also don't know what you guys think about it. He keeps chopping and changing the back 3, the front 3. Go with what you want to do and stick with it, you know. And if it, for me, I'd go Aubameyang, Willian, Pepe. Go for it. And that's what I'm going to say. Aubameyang down the middle. The other 2 doing what they're doing. I'll give them 4 games. If you don't do it in 4 games, somebody else comes in. But I can tell you this now, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it on here. If, when Martinelli comes back into this team, doesn't get the same chances that Eddie is getting at this football club at this moment in time, I will be starting banging on about Arteta, because I feel at the end of the day he's got. I'm going to say this. I'm liking what Arteta's doing, but I feel that he's got a few little favourites in the side. And for me, when that Martinelli comes back, I want to see him straight in there and given the opportunities that this boy deserves, because he's one player that excites me, you know. And I'm looking forward to him coming back. The only thing is it's going to be a long time before he comes back. But I want to see him coming back into the side. I agree with someone up there saying, you know, Saka could be, if you're going to play Saka, play him as on the left-hand side of the 3. I would actually like to see him playing just behind the front 3, in my opinion, in that 3 midfield. That's why I haven't mentioned him. But if that's the way he's going to go, then go that way. But, you know, our best player over the last 3 games, by the way, has been Saka. You know, but
says it all. Which says it all. A 19-year-old
says it all. And is he nailed on? Is he nailed on to play on Sunday? I'm not so sure. You know what I mean?
We'll get into that.
That's my problem with what I've got a little bit at the moment.
Manny, is Lee right with Saka or Martinelli? I think he makes a great point about Martinelli, by the way. And Ketty is getting a chance. So let's hope that Martinelli does when he comes in. What do you make of that, man?
Man, I hope so. I hope so. You know, I'm not a fan of Eddie. And, you know, one of the issues that we have with this squad is that we have too many flawed players. You know, we don't have enough, you know, players that make you go, wow, this is, you know, we don't have enough Parteys and we don't have enough Gabriels. We've got too many flawed individuals and they're showing their flaws at the minute. you know. So I want to see Martinelli gets a chance because his mentality is different. Right, Martinelli's got the mentality is I'm going for this. I've got the opportunity and I'm taking it. And we need more Martinelli's mentality of Martinelli's than we do the Eddie Nketiahs and the Willocks, because these are guys who have been given opportunities and they're not taking them. Whether their mentality is to play for this football club or whether I don't know what it is, but at the moment we have too many flawed individuals in this team,
100%.
and Arteta is trying to get them playing a certain type. Arteta's trying to get them to play a certain type of football that gets them over the line. So, do we need to trust the process? 100%, because the process is going to take some time, people. It is going to take some time, and the reason why we're playing the way we're playing, we're trying to play too many flawed players, and it's showing at the minute. We just got to trust the process at the moment, man.
I totally agree. Guys, I'm going to put the team up that I think Arteta will go with at the weekend. Not what I would do, but I'm going to share my screen and see what you boys make of this. Because as far as I'm concerned, I think some of them pick themselves at the moment due to injuries. But what I do think is that it's going to get to a stage soon where we are going to have to look at playing 4-3-3. And I think what he will do is go with it at the weekend. Now, I don't like David Luiz in a back four. And I actually agree with lead judges and think that as soon as Mustafi's fit, he will be put into that position at the moment until either Holding or somebody else that Arteta fancies comes in. And what I think will happen with this team is I think when we're out of, possession, Xhaka will do this and he'll drop back into a back three. And that will allow this guy, who I thought was immense, by the way, last night. I know it was only against Rapid Vienna, but I thought he was excellent in terms of a debut, to pull the strings. What we're looking at is Dani Ceballos, who I think, like Lee says, we're looking at him to put up now. He was kind of pick up his form. I mean, in Project Restart, he was, I thought, sensational. I want to see more of that from Dani Ceballos, but I'd like to see him try to drive forward a bit more. But we need to be looking at this guy now, because Lacazette, for me, everyone says how fantastic he was in terms of his goal scoring, but I don't think he's working hard enough. I don't see him dropping on the man anymore. I don't see him making up for men in midfield. I don't see him working hard, linking up play with the Aubameyangs of this world. Now, I don't know what you think. I'll start with you, Manny. I don't know what you think of this team. Do you think there is any question marks over any of this team that I've selected, bro?
I think it's wishful thinking. I think David Luiz in the back four is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's what you may want to see, but it's not what we're going to see. And that front three, that's a front three I wouldn't go for either. I wouldn't. I think Lacazette
we're talking about Arteta. Do you think Arteta will pick this side? That's what I'm going with. No? Okay.
No, he's not. He's not. He's going to go with his tried and trusted back three. I think Bellerin will come back in. I think Tierney will come back in. And I think it will be Partey and Xhaka. I think Ceballos will sit this one out. I believe that Pepe and Willian will start. I think that's his tried and trusted, and that's what he's going to go for.
Fair play. Lee, I mean, listen, this is something that is a question mark at the moment about formations. Where do you see it at the moment with where Arteta's at? Because I personally feel like he wants to go 4-3-3, and he was going to do it against Man City. And if it wasn't for Rob Holding getting injured, then he would have gone with it. What do you make of it, mate?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but for me, listen, if Arteta was to play that team, I'd be disappointed, because our best player, as I've said, has been Saka, and he's not in it. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. That. So for me, when I'm looking at that formation, as a manager or a coach, I'm going to sit there and go, right, well, I need to get my best player in there, which is Saka. So where am I going to get him into that team? And I agree with Manny. The way to get him into that team is play a back three. So you've got Luiz, Gabriel, and Tierney playing then, and then you've got Bellerin and Saka as your wing backs. It means dropping one of those midfield players. Well, one of those midfield players is not going to be Partey after last week. And I think with Xhaka being rested, it's not going to be there. So it looks like it will be Ceballos that would be the one to drop out. This is the problem we've got, because he can't get the players in that he wants in the defence. David Luiz. Listen, David Luiz up against Vardy, because let's be honest, Vardy will play on Sunday. We're asking for trouble, because you know what I mean. Anybody knows that you just play on him, just playing the ball over the top.
Absolutely. And David Luiz is in trouble.
Yeah, into channels you're going to go. Now, if you play that into those channels in a back three, you've got David Luiz coming across or Gabriel, whoever it is, and we could sweep it up, no problems at all. So I feel that we've got to have a little. What I do like about Mikel Arteta, because it does seem we're just bashing him a little bit here. He will look at all the, not just looking at our strengths. He'll look at what they've got as well. And I think that, you know, what we've always played into the hands of Vardy a little bit by playing too high up with a 2, and he's been able to get in behind us far too often. Now they play very much on the break like they did against Manchester City, so we've got to be wary of that. A back three drops that off a little bit. We can mean that we've got 3 at the back where we can cover those holes a little bit more. I think that's the way that we go. It could be even like, you know, I don't see like playing the false 9 if you're going to play a proper false 9 in there. Like, you know, like what you could do is like Lacazette dropping in back like he did before in last season's cup final and semi-finals and things like that. He done very, very well. But I don't know about you guys. I don't think that that Lacazette done enough for me to say, do you know what, I'm gonna back him. You know, I'm seeing people saying about Balogun coming in there. Like, I'd like to see him play, by the way, in one of the Europa League games coming up. We've got games in the Europa League now at home, and I feel that we've got to give these youngsters a go in these games. And if they can't do the business against Dundalk or whoever it be, then they're no good to us. Let's see what they can do. You know, we've got big games coming up against Manchester United. I think we've got Villa, Leeds, while these Europa League games coming on. So this is when your squad players
use your squad, yeah.
They've got to step up. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what I do. If I'm looking at that team, I'm looking at whatever squad we're picking, and I'm thinking it's not really what I want to play, but I'm going to have to play it. And I feel that Mikel Arteta is in that boat as well this month. So it's not really what I want to do, but I'm going to have to do it. And that's why I'm saying that we're going to have to just, you know, grin and bear it till January until we get the right players in. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to grin and bear it because we know what this club's like to the end of January instead of beginning of January. You know what I mean? Because that's the way we are, you know, but I feel that we really, if you think about it, we've only got 2 months to get through. Once we get through these games, we're into December. Once you get after that, we can go and buy again. So this is a very, very important thing now. I think that Saka should play in that, but I'd like to see that team. But yeah, I think, being honest, Xhaka didn't play. Ceballos and Willian were pretended to have little knocks, you know, but they've been basically rested. If they're fit, they should play, because why go all the way over there? I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if Saka's left out of this team on.
Well, that's why I didn't put him in, because I personally feel that it will be that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think we'll be far wrong there, personally. But it's my absolute pleasure to welcome our good friend and Leicester City fan, Lee Chappie Chapman. Lee, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, brilliant. And it's good I'm listening to you guys talking about your squad and whatnot. I'm more concerned about Leicester's squad, to be quite honest with you. I can get your squad, what I think is going to play on Sunday right here. I don't know if you can make that any bigger, but that is the players that are available. Because, yes, that's right, Ricardo Pereira is still out. He's still injured. It's probably going to be at least another 4 weeks before we see Ricardo Pereira even making the squad. We've got Kaglar Soyuncu, our main centre-back, the main man at the minute. He's had a muscle tear come straight off the bone, so he's out for 3 months. We've got a Benkovic. You guys probably never really heard of him. He's out anyway. And the thing is, James Maddison's been carrying a little injury for quite some time. He's not been the fittest, in all honesty, and neither is Dennis Pratt carrying a knee injury. Jamie Vardy, we're still going to find out within the next 48 hours if he's actually fit to play. Rogers said something this morning in a little mini presser that it's all touch and go for the next 48 hours on Jamie Vardy. So Lee, I'm not 100% that he's going to play, Mark.
Lee? What's Vardy's injury?
It's just a calf thing. He's been carrying a calf problem for quite some time behind the scenes. A lot of people haven't actually jumped on it. You know, I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're not one of the bigger 6 sides, but he has been carrying this calf problem for quite a few years now, believe it or not.
Yeah, listen, I think we're all hoping he ain't be fit up.
Muscle injury sometimes can be, could take a little bit. So I'll have money now that he'll start on.
Yeah, same here.
So,
I bet he will. But Chappers, let's stay with you, man. It's been a strange season for all of us, to be fair. But Leicester, but it's been a strange season. But with Leicester, I mean, I didn't expect the West Ham result. I guess you guys didn't. But apart from that one, it's been okay-ish. And then I saw you against Villa the other night and thought, oh no, threw it away towards the end. So how have you made it of it so far under Brendan Rodgers, mate?
Yeah, it's been because I think it's all to do with the fans not being there. To be honest with you, Leicester are a side that I think we are a 12th man. We're a 12-man side. That's what we are. And
horrible fans.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. We're not that badly. We're not that.
No, they're very vocal. I agree with you. 100% agree with you.
The thing is, though, we do rely on that 12th man support, I think. Like, we are one of those sides, and without it, you can see some of the results coming through. I mean, that was a shocker against Newcastle. West Ham, the 3-0. I was very surprised with that. I mean, they played us out on every position in that part. We were played completely out of the game in every position. So if you can play anything like they did, if Arteta's got his pen and paper at hand and looks how they played, you'll pass it easy.
The problem we got at the moment, we were just talking about it, Chappers, was our kind of creativity. Yeah. And I think, when you look at Aston Villa's midfield at the moment, it was absolutely on fire with Grealish and Barkley and McGinn, who I'm a big fan of. And we haven't really got that at the moment. But Thomas Partey's come into the picture. And I must admit, last night, as far as performances go, I was extremely impressed. And I think with him and Gabriel, we look a lot more solid. Manny, I'm going to bring you in on this one because Thomas Partey, I knew you were a huge, huge fan of him. I think personally that signing has got to be one of the best signings of the Emirates era. Am I right?
Dude, he just got here. Come back to me in a few years, man. He just got here. Give him a bit of time, man. But what you saw yesterday is a player that knows how to play that midfield. He was head and shoulders above everybody on that pitch. Him and Gabriel were, and it's no surprise. It's the technical ability, is that assurance on the ball. It's that, knowing his pass and knowing how to get out of trouble, being press resistant, being mobile, being aggressive, and just getting about the pitch and knowing what to do. It seemed like it didn't even matter who was on the pitch with him. He's going to find that ball, being diagonal passes, being, fizzing it into Lacazette, who was shocking yesterday. But it's something that, Dennis Bergkamp said, it doesn't matter, how the pass is, it's my job to control it. So with Thomas Partey is going to be in this side, players need to understand that the ball is going to come at miles per hour and it's your job to get it under control. His performance yesterday, I loved it. Even how aggressive he was, even that yellow card that he got. It's just, I love that because we haven't had that from a midfielder in so long. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing how he takes on, the Premier League, because it's going to be a different kettle of fish. But in this player here, we need somebody of his ilk in and around the side, not just next to him, but everywhere on the pitch, because he was head and shoulders above everybody. And we need somebody to support him as opposed to him being the one player who does it all.
Yeah, man. Before I come to Lee Judges on that, Chappie, I'll bring you in there because Arsenal's midfield, it hasn't been great of late. But do you look at that midfield going into this game as a Leicester fan thinking, I'm scared of Thomas Partey now that he's come into that midfield? It makes Arsenal stronger.
Yeah, I'm more scared of the fact that we haven't got Wilfred Ndidi because he's our main man in that central role, the holding role. And he's king of the interceptions, king of just everything at the minute is worked around Ndidi at the club. And without him, I do feel that Mendy's got a Napolis Mendy, the sub for him on our pitch. He's little and he tries his best, but I don't think he's quite Ndidi. And I do feel that's where you're going to beat us in the middle of the park on Sunday. I do feel that. I'm just hoping that we've got Jamie Vardy up top. Else I think we're going to really struggle.
I think you will have Jamie Vardy. He always seems to play against us and he always loves a goal. Lee Judge, just bring you in on that one. Let's bring you on Gabriel and Partey, actually. Do you feel more comfortable with those two players in the Arsenal setup, mate?
No, of course they're strong, good. They've been they were the best two players last night. And
by far,
when you're playing teams like Leicester, like I think that with Leicester, I think that Lee just said on there that you go to Leicester, particularly you go to Leicester away, their fans are right on it from word go. They're very, very at it. So when you're playing someone like Villa and there's no fans there, that's going to affect. I think it's affected Leicester more than a lot of other teams, and I mean that in a nice way. I think that Brendan Rodgers before lockdown they were flying, and then they had injuries which have kept them, like with them now where they've got. I don't think like Leicester.
I mean, Lee. We had to loan Ryan Bennett in at right back.
Yeah.
And that says it all about the end of the last season.
Yeah,
we missed
exactly.
We get bantered for bottling it.
No, not for me. Didn't it? Was down to
injuries, squad depth. You can only play with the cards you've dealt with, and unfortunately, we had a bad hand.
And unfortunately for Leicester, it was like 3 games a week when you was losing players, and unfortunately, they've not been able to cope. For Brendan Rodgers to come out the other day. And I think he's always been an honest sort of a manager and whatever, turn around and say, we was depleted against Villa. He's frustrated. So from that point of view, from an Arsenal point of view, when you've got somebody like Leicester, not down and out, don't get me wrong, but they're struggling a little bit with players, as Lee just said. That is when you've got to get the Parteys and Gabriels and come along and just roll them over. And so I have no sympathy for a team like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I'm not meaning that in a nut. That's what.
But you don't know. But you don't know. Look, we're both off the back of a Europa League win. Winning 3-0 at home, and you boys going over there and doing a nice little comeback special. Leicester looked good last night. I know they were against FC Zora, a Sunday League side, but but it don't matter. The fact is, they've got Europe experience, and we really haven't. And we've bossed them 3-0. We looked good in the end. We had I think we had about 20 shots on. It was insane. In the end, we played really well. Harvey Barnes looks very, very, very good. Very dangerous going forward. So it's not like we haven't got some attack down that side, but I still feel like we do need Jamie Vardy up top to affect you boys at the back.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where. Listen, that's what I was just going to say. Like Leicester were 2 weeks ago. They've lost their, but they was absolutely magnificent against Manchester City. Football's a funny game. One game, and then they go and lose to West Ham, go and lose to Villa. By the way, Villa look a completely different side now. You know what I mean? You're not taking on a Villa side that was last season. This is a completely different animal. So they're going to be tough to beat. But I tell you one thing that you've got coming back into your team, Lee, and that's Maddison. I think he's a very, very good player.
Yeah,
minutes under his belt,
and strangely played on the right wing yesterday for some strange reason.
But he's getting wherever he plays, he's getting minutes in his legs. I think that it's still going to be a tough game for us. And looking at that Leicester team you put out there just a minute ago, there's still some top players there. So it's going to be no way an easy game or a form. Tillemans in midfield, I really like him. Really good player.
Yeah. Well, we've got a good Belgium connection now with Dennis Pratt, Yuri Tillemans and Castagna as well, filling in for Ricardo on the right. I think eventually the idea is Castagna will go on the left and be the full-time left back, I think. Because
he looks good, though. He looks good.
Oh, man, don't he just? I mean, those three in particular, Pratt, Tillemans and Castagna are linking up so well during play, and you can see it's paying off. Castagna's got quite a few assists already. He's only just come into the team, so clearly it's working. And can you imagine Ricardo Pereira down that right and Castagna on the left? Oh, it's going to be it's going to be lovely.
But what's name is going to be a big loss for you? I'm not going to say his name. The central defender. I thought.
Soyuncu, great player,
absolute immense player for you for the last 2 seasons that he's been. He's absolutely brilliant.
He just walked in. Maguire went for 80 million. Our owner top went bye to Maguire. Come on, Soyuncu, come off the bench and play. And he's just like, well, who needs Maguire?
Yeah,
we haven't missed him at all.
And that tells you everything, doesn't it? Tells you everything.
It really does. So, Chappie, how do you feel going into this game in all seriousness, mate? Because, as we just said, it's a crazy league at the moment. How do you think you can take 3 points off of us, mate?
Look, we've not got the best of records at the Emirates or at Arsenal away in general. I don't think we've won there for, we're talking I think probably before the Premier League. Even I don't think we didn't beat you boys when we won the Premier League. You know, we've got a good. I think we've got a good record at the minute in the last 5 years at home. But overall, I'm not overly confident. I just hope we can pull something out there. Like even if we take a point, I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah. Well, listen, you took one last year and you do quite well against us. So we'll come into the predictions in a minute. Manny, let's get your view on this game, mate. How do we take 3 points on this one, man? It's not going to be easy, is it?
It's not going to be easy, but you take 3 points by being positive and actually going at Leicester. You know, playing like a team that's playing at home and playing like a team that's got a point to prove, because the way I see it is we do have a point to prove in this game. You know, we're under more pressure than Leicester to win this game, period. You know, because we need to go out there, we need to shut some fans up, our own fans. You know, we need to go out there and make a statement. So we go out there, we play football, we, you know, perform like we're Arsenal Football Club and go at them. And we don't perform like we're, you know, sheepers, you know, going away to City and trying to get a point. You know, that's the way you do it. You go out there and you act as if you're Arsenal Football Club and you to them.
I think it's a great shout. Manny, what's your prediction for this game before we move to the other two, mate?
I think we've lost Manny.
Oh, is Manny gone?
Well, I'm here. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what happened. Sky Broadband. What'd you say, man?
No, I just asked a prediction, mate, before we moved on from you, mate.
Oh, prediction.
Score prediction, yeah.
I'm gonna go with 2-1, man. It's gonna be a tight one, so I'm gonna go 2-1.
Okay, let's go to a prediction from Lee Judges first, man. What do you reckon?
Well, I'm going with what Leicester Fan TV is saying there. 2-2.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
So, like, I think that that Leicester will always cause us problems. I know. I can't believe that. It's 1973 was the last time they won it. I can't believe that. But they've always caused us problems. I thought, like last season, we was immense first half, and second half we was hanging on. I know that Eddie got sent off, but I think it'd be a tough game for us, and you know, might get a little bit of luck, like we've had in a couple of years before. You know, Danny Welbeck and whatever. But I'm not convinced of Arsenal at the moment. I'm not convinced the way we're playing. I'm not, and I think that they've got ammunition that can hurt us.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with you, mate. I'm going to go with a 2-2 as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we could get a draw, and I'll be more than happy with a draw. Like you said, James Maddison's coming into play now. He's been struggling for fitness for quite some time, but he's finally starting to click, and it looks like he's about sharp as he can get. We've got a right winger called Cengiz Under, who came from AS Roma, that's very highly rated.
Highly rated, yeah, he is.
Really highly rated, and I can see him playing against you boys, to be honest. And I might even see Perez up top as a lone striker yet, because he did finish the last 20 on Thursday night for Leicester up top as the number 9 role almost. Who knows? I don't know how that's going to work, because Nacho is probably going to be your main man. He got 2 assists and a goal last night, so he had a good game last night. I didn't think he had a good game personally, but everyone seems to think he did. I think his touch was poor, but I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2.
That leaves me. I am going to disagree with you two, and I'm going to agree with my good man Manny. I think we'll nick it. I think we will. I'm looking forward to seeing this team. I really am, because I think that we're going to see the real midfield now in Thomas Partey. And I think Arteta knows that we need to win this game. You know, we do. Like Manny says, we need to win this game badly because we got them coming in thick and fast, you know, and at the moment, although things aren't looking so good for us, I don't think we're a team that concedes 4 or 5 anymore. And I think Leicester will find it hard to break us down. So I'm going to keep the faith and be optimistic and go for 2-1. Boys, the last thing I want to talk about, and Chappie, I'd love to get your opinion on this as well, actually.
I know what you're going to say. I know it.
I'm not going to, you know what, you think I'm going to talk about Mesut Ozil, but I'm not going to talk about Mesut Ozil. I'm not going to, because we said right at the start of the show that I don't want to be too negative, but I am going to talk about something that some people are being quite negative about, and it is our goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. Now, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to stick up for him a little bit. And the reason I'm going to stick up for him a little bit is just for the pure fact that somebody who has made mistakes in 6, you get your say in a minute, league judges. In 6 seasons, Mesut Ozil has been up and down. In 5 seasons, Granit Xhaka has been up and down. Likewise, Mustafi. Likewise, Kolasinac. I will give players stick, and people know that I give him stick on this podcast and other podcasts when they have been consistently poor. Now, if Leno continues to be consistently making mistakes, I'll call him out. 100% I will. And if it starts to be season after season, I'll start to question the manager for picking him. But at the moment, he has made a couple of errors which are frustrating to watch. But I'm not going to get on the kid's back. What is frustrating is that Emi Martinez left the club. Yeah, everybody wanted him as the number one. Every Arsenal fan thought he was the better of the 2 goalkeepers. And it was frustrating that we let him leave for financial reasons, not footballing reasons. And I totally get that. But as far as I'm concerned, his confidence is completely shot to bits because of the Arsenal fans that are supposed to love this club getting on his back, saying that he is absolutely awful in comparison to Martinez. That's going to affect the guy. That is going to affect the guy. 100%, right? It is going to 100% affect the guy. Let me ask you first, Chappie, what do you make of Bernd Leno? Is he as bad as some of the Arsenal fans are saying currently?
I was shocked. I'll be quite honest with you. At the start of the season, I was quite shocked when I seen the transfer deadline, blah, 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 news come in on Sky saying Aston Villa had signed Martinez. I was quite shocked because, you know what, it was really in form. Took over the place for Leno at the end of the season last season because what did he suffer an injury?
Injured. Yeah, really bad injury.
Yeah. And you know what? I was surprised that he wasn't given a chance at the start of the season to be the number one, because of the way he was playing at the end of last season for you boys. Do you feel like you got rid of him and should have got rid of Leno and kept Martinez instead?
Well,
Lee Judges, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, listen, the reason that no one's getting on to Leno and all that, he's a professional footballer. Of course, he's going to get a little bit of stick, you know what I mean? Because he's made a mistake. At the end of the day, it was done for footballing reasons, Lee. Maybe, we don't know this, that Leno, we couldn't sell Leno. You know, they would have wanted more money in the wages and whatever. The deal wasn't, feasible. So it was the easy option just to get rid of Martinez. That's fair enough. That's the way it goes. He didn't deserve to be left out of the side last season. He never made one mistake the whole time he came in. Fair play to him. Leno's come back in and he's made mistakes. Now, the reason he's made mistakes, and I have backed him up on this, is because he's been injured, and he's coming back into form and all that. And he's made a mistake. He's made a mistake yesterday. So what? We got away with it. So it ain't crucial. What I don't want to see is him making another mistake again like that against Leicester. What I worry about and what I say about old silly Craig in the chat at the moment, he went and done it again 10, 15 minutes later. Learn your lesson from it, you know what I mean? And that is the thing. And I'll ask on one thing about Leno. You've got to pick a goalkeeper tomorrow out of Schmeichel and Leno. Who are you going for, Lee? Who are you going for?
Right, I'll just pick up on that, right? You were on about Leno making mistakes. The thing is, Kasper Schmeichel makes mistakes too. But
of course.
I still feel, because Arsenal are a bigger club, more eyes on, more of a franchise worldwide club to Leicester. I think those errors are heightened far more. Kasper Schmeichel made an error yesterday, nearly cost him a goal. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. If you see the highlights, you'll see it. He literally passed the ball to one of their players who tried to chip him, and he had to run backwards. Luckily, it was swerved to the side of his post, right? But this happens quite a lot. Kasper Schmeichel's distribution isn't the best. He makes some bad judgments, but he's a bloody solid keeper, and you've got to back the man in the shirt.
Yeah. Which is what we're doing. I think at the end, there's a thing at Arsenal, I don't know what it is that he's made a couple of mistakes. You are allowed to criticise him, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. Say, for what it... And I think that on yesterday, he was allowed to be criticised. But not in saying that, two weeks ago against Liverpool, he was absolutely outstanding. I'm backing him as a goalkeeper. I think he's a great goalkeeper. But to be a top goalkeeper, you've got to cut out mistakes. Now, the pressure is, for me, on him, is that when Martinez has come into the side, and since he's gone also to Villa as well, he ain't making that many mistakes. He made one mistake. He did make a mistake against Sheffield United and got away with it, And this is the thing. You have to say tell him to shut up and all, like, you know. The fact is, the matter is that Martinez didn't make mistakes, and that is what people are getting on the back. Don't make the mistakes, Leno. Don't make. I think, you know, he's a good goalkeeper, Leno. Someone's just put in the stat that 8 goals are his fault or whatever, and he's the 3rd worst goalkeeper on stats. I don't go into stats, you know. Make the sometimes you can be a little bit. You have to be a little bit lucky in goal as well, Lee. Like Schmeichel obviously had the luck on Thursday night. Sometimes you need that little bit of luck.
Yeah,
and I think that you've got to give Leno a little bit of a break that he's coming back from injury. You know, ideally, if Arsenal are as a big club as they should be, they should actually be saying, well, I'll tell you what, we'll keep Martinez until January. So we'll win and play like Leno until he is 100% fit to come back into the side. He's been, I think, rushed back into the side a little bit too early. That's why he's making mistakes. I don't think that he's garbage, like someone just put in the chat. But the fact of the matter is, Martinez come into the side last season and done really, really well. And that has put pressure on Mr. Leno. Jay Leno, as someone said.
You did ask me though. You did ask me, so you put me on the stool there between Casper or Leno. Who would I take? I couldn't answer it last time with Robbie Lyle either. We've done a combined 11 video on AFTV. That should be out about now, actually. And I can't answer it here. I think they're both on par of each other. I think Casper's probably the better shot stopper, but I think Leno's the better football-minded player of the two. That's my call, but I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. But I'd say they're on par.
Manny, go on, Manny.
I can't pick either one.
Manny, let's let you have your say on this Leno situation and answer that question that Chappie's put forward, mate.
I'm going to answer the question first. I'm picking Leno over Schmeichel all day long. Right, all day long. I understand. I can see Leno's faults. You know, for me, he's not commanding enough. For me, you know, the ball at his feet, he worries. But that man was, you know, on par to be our player of the season if he doesn't go down with injury last season, right? And here's the thing about the fan base, right? And here's something that I find very irritating. There are some Arsenal fans out there who are waiting for Leno to fuck up just so they can say, I told you so. Instead of backing the man who is wearing the #1 shirt at the minute. At the end of the day, Arteta picked him, right? Arteta picked him, right? This is your #1. So instead of getting on his back and instead of saying, oh, Martinez would have done this, Martinez would have done that, guess what? Martinez is gone, right? Get over it. Back the man. But at the same time, if Leno has a bad game, you are right to go. He has had a bad game. But don't go overboard 100%. And stop talking about Martinez. Martinez is not an Arsenal player. He made the decision to leave because he wanted to play first team football. Get over it, right? Get over it and stop talking about him. He's done. Back Leno. He is your goalkeeper now, right? He needs your support. His form is a bit shaky at the minute. He had a horrible injury. He's going to get back to it. What's the point of talking about Martinez? He's gone. He's gone. Back your goalkeeper. It's just that simple. We understand his faults. We understand what he's good at and what he's not good at. We know all of this. But he's our #1. And he's not going anywhere. Back Leno, man. Back him 100%.
Manny, that is spot on, man. And that's what I've been trying to say for weeks and even months since Martinez has gone. And that chat has just gone nuts because everybody is saying,
I don't think they liked me mentioning about Casper being better than Leno. I didn't say that. I said they're on par. I think they're about equal neck and neck, you know.
I would agree with that. I'd agree with that.
Casper's a very loyal man as well. I don't think, you know, you won't find some players that stick with clubs that long. And Casper's Mr. Loyal. He was the first one to run out for Vishai's helicopter going down as well. So he's very, very, very close to the right up top of this club. So he's going nowhere anyway.
Fair enough. Before we do finish, Chappie, I just want to ask a question that I ask everybody that comes on here. 2 questions. Where do you fancy Leicester to finish? And the other question is, if you could pick one Arsenal player to put into Leicester's first team, who would you go for and why?
Okay, I think Leicester will finish somewhere between 5th and 10th if we have a remarkable run in the Europa. I don't think we'll be able to run both at the same time with the squad size we've got. If we can just if we can piss off the FA Cup It's an important cup, but let's focus on Europe and focus on the Premier League, right? Because if you remember, Wolves played 55 games last season. 55 due to the Europa and everything else. Yeah, we haven't got that squad. We haven't got the size. Look at the injuries. We're 5 games into the season. Look at the injury list. So it ain't happening. So depending on how our European football goes, I think we're going to finish higher up in the Premier League. The further we go into Europe, I think the lower we go down in the Premier League. It's as simple as that. And your second question, I would love to see Aubameyang with Jamie Vardy as a strike force. I would love to see it. It's never going to happen, unfortunately. Maybe it could have if Vardy did go to Arsenal when he had the chance. But I would love to see that. That is something I would love to see. Simply being Aubameyang is top class, world class player, and I'd love to see it. Simple as that.
Fair enough. Craig thought you were going to pick Leno after all that, mate. Could you imagine it? Boys, absolutely pleasure to have you all on tonight. Lee Chappie, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you so much. How can people follow you, mate?
Yeah, just literally search me in, Lee Chappie on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel that's growing unreal at the minute, doing watch-alongs, neutral watch-alongs, not just Leicester stuff, and the odd FIFA video. Speaking of FIFA, I am on AFTV now. I think it's out right now, 8 o'clock, facing one of their guys over there as well on FIFA 21. Yeah, and you can follow me at Lee_Chappie on Twitter and on Instagram.
Great stuff, Chappie. Thank you very much. Before I thank the other two guests, I just want to put out to say that our thoughts are with Graham Brooks. Graham Brooks is a massive part of this channel, but unfortunately lost his mum last week. So unfortunately, he is taking some time off, and we are going to allow him as much time as he needs. Our thoughts are with him and his family, and we are all here for you, Graham. If you ever need to pick up the phone, of course we are here. Lee Judges, thanks very much for coming on, mate. I enjoyed it.
No problems, no worries. Enjoyed it, though, you know.
Good man. And last of all, Manny, you're becoming my right hand man, man. It's getting good. Thanks a lot, bro. I really enjoyed it tonight. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, man. Pleasure having me on as always, bro.
Top man. Okay, we are going to be back on Monday night, I believe, Lee, and we'll be talking hopefully about 3 points to the Arsenal.
Yeah.
But we shall see. It's going to be a very hard fought out victory, in my opinion, but let's just hope we take them 3 points.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching on the match review. I'll be watching.
Yeah, you know,
I might even join in. Who knows?
There you go, mate.
Come on.
You're always welcome. Always welcome, Chappie. Always welcome. Thanks to everyone in the chat.
Leno loving.
Leno loving. Thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Same Old Arsenal. Follow us all on Twitter. And please like the video. Please, many likes as possible will be fantastic and much appreciated. And until then, we will see you around 7 to 7:30 on Monday night. Up the Arsenal.